What happens when the very man who rescued you becomes the one you abandon? That's the question everyone's asking right now, as Meghan Markle and Prince Harry find themselves at the center of a silence louder than any scandal. Just a few years ago, Tyler Perry was their guardian angel, the billionaire mogul who offered his private estate and personal protection when the royal walls came crashing down. He didn't just help them escape, he gave them a new life. Now? Crickets. As Perry faces a $260 million lawsuit with allegations that could destroy his entire empire, Meghan and Harry, once all about truth, loyalty, and standing with the vulnerable, are nowhere to be found. Not a word, not a post, not even a whisper. But why? This isn't just Hollywood drama. This is a brutal look at what happens when image, loyalty, and reputation collide behind the scenes. Because Meghan's silence isn't just about Perry, it mirrors a deeper, more disturbing pattern. From once loyal friends like Jessica Mulroney to industry insiders who quietly distanced themselves, the signs were always there. We just didn't want to believe them. Until now. Because this isn't just about one lawsuit, it's about everything they've built, crumbling in real time. And it all starts with a silence that's impossible to ignore. When Meghan and Harry made their dramatic exit from royal life in 2020, the world watched with bated breath. Where would they go? Who would take them in? The answer came in the form of a powerful Hollywood titan, Tyler Perry. He didn't just offer kind words. He gave them his private jet, his $18 million Beverly Hills estate, and full security protection. While Buckingham Palace tightened its grip and the British tabloids launched their attacks, Perry stood as a fortress. He didn't owe them anything, but he believed in their story, in their pain, in their need for safety. In many ways, Tyler Perry wasn't just a friend, he was their savior. Meghan herself once called him a gift from God. And Perry didn't just support them from the shadows. He allowed Netflix cameras to film inside his home for their documentary. He became godfather to their daughter, Lilibet. This wasn't a surface-level relationship. It was deeply personal, family level. So now, when Perry is facing the biggest public crisis of his life, a scandal that could implode his career and legacy, the silence from Harry and Meghan feels deafening. Not even a single line of public support, no message of concern, no statement of neutrality, just nothing. And that's what has people talking. Because when someone shelters you during your darkest hour, how do you justify vanishing during theirs? But that's only the beginning, because what happened next was something no one saw coming. In early 2024, actor Derek Dixon dropped a legal bombshell that rocked Hollywood to its core. A $260 million lawsuit against Tyler Perry, one of the most powerful figures in entertainment, accusing him of a disturbing pattern of manipulation and misconduct. According to court filings, Dixon claims that after being cast in Perry's series Ruthless, what began as mentorship quickly turned into something far more sinister. He alleges that Perry used his influence and promises of career advancement to cross professional boundaries, initiating unwanted advances and blurring the line between power and control. But what made the accusations even more explosive wasn't just the behavior, it was where it allegedly happened. Dixon says the worst of it occurred inside Perry's Atlanta compound, the same home where Meghan and Harry stayed, the same halls their children played in, the same place Perry had offered as sanctuary is now being described as the backdrop to something darker. And while Perry's legal team calls the lawsuit a blatant shakedown, industry insiders aren't so quick to dismiss it. They're whispering about what this lawsuit could really mean, about Perry's empire, about who knew what, and about how deep the silence really goes. Suddenly, Perry's role as the Sussex's savior looks more complicated, and their silence even more calculated. But this scandal wasn't just about Perry. It started shaking the very foundation of Meghan and Harry's carefully crafted public image. For a couple who built their post-royal identity on speaking truth to power, Meghan and Harry's reaction, or lack thereof, to Tyler Perry's crisis is shocking. Or maybe revealing. This isn't just any acquaintance caught in a scandal. This is Lilibet's godfather, the man who flew them to safety, the one who quite literally gave them a home when the rest of the world slammed its doors. And now, that man is under siege, accused, humiliated, and facing the possible collapse of everything he's built. So where are they? Not a word, not a quote, not even a carefully worded no comment. Royal experts have called it a total lack of moral courage. Fans are calling it betrayal. And Hollywood? They're quietly taking notes. Because here's the catch. If Perry is found innocent, Meghan and Harry look disloyal. Friends who vanished when it mattered most. But if the allegations are true, Their silence looks like cold calculation, a strategic retreat to avoid being tainted. Either way, they lose. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Their refusal to say anything at all has created a lose-lose scenario of their own making, one where integrity is measured not by what you do when it's easy, but by what you do when it's messy. But this isn't the first time their loyalty has vanished under pressure. And what happened to Meghan's former best friend proves it. Before there was Tyler Perry, there was Jessica Mulroney, Meghan's ride or die, her confidant, her stylist, her wedding planner, the woman who helped craft Meghan's royal image from the ground up. For nearly 2 decades, Jessica stood by Meghan through everything: her divorce from Trevor Engelson, her transition into royal life, and every chaotic step in between. Her daughter even walked down the aisle with Princess Charlotte at Meghan's wedding. That wasn't just friendship, that was family. But in 2020, Jessica's world imploded overnight. An Instagram feud with lifestyle blogger Sasha Exeter spiraled into public outrage. Suddenly, Jessica was labeled toxic. And Meghan? She didn't just step back. She ghosted her completely. No statement of support, no private reconciliation. Just silence. Again. Behind the scenes, reports claim Meghan's team made it clear. Jessica was no longer part of the narrative. Her shows were canceled, her brand deals evaporated. Her career was torched. And through it all, Jessica never said a word against Meghan, not even when it would have helped her clear her name. It was one of the first major cracks in Meghan's public image, and now it looks more like a blueprint. Because what happened to Jessica isn't just a one-off betrayal. It's a recurring pattern. And Tyler Perry? He's just the latest casualty. But the fallout from cutting off Perry isn't just personal. It's professional. And it's ripping through Hollywood like a shockwave. Tyler Perry isn't just another celebrity. He's a kingmaker. So when someone like Perry walks away from you, publicly, permanently, the entire industry takes notice. And the message he's sending about Meghan and Harry is crystal clear. They're no longer worth the risk. The fallout has been swift and brutal. Netflix, already nervous about the underperformance of the Sussex's content, is reportedly in panic mode. Their entire partnership hinged on industry support, especially from figures like Perry, who lent legitimacy to their Hollywood ambitions. Without him, the cracks in their brand are suddenly glaring. Behind the scenes, projects are quietly being shelved. HBO Max pulled out of talks for a Sussex documentary. Amazon ended discussions about a podcast. Disney, once interested in Meghan's voice work, has gone silent. These aren't coincidences, they're calculated retreats. And it gets worse. A-listers are now skipping over Harry and Meghan on guest lists. Their names, once guarantees for press coverage, are being scrubbed from premieres and galas. Talent agencies, including heavyweights like CAA, are allegedly advising clients to steer clear of them altogether. Because in Hollywood, perception is everything. And the Sussex brand? It's starting to look radioactive. But this isn't just a Hollywood crisis, it's something deeper. Because the real question is, were the signs always there? And if so, what does that say about who Meghan and Harry really are? The heart of all this chaos is a truth too uncomfortable for some to admit. Meghan and Harry didn't build their post-royal empire alone. They built it by borrowing credibility, trust, and relationships from others. First, it was Oprah. Then it was Jessica. Then Tyler Perry. Every major moment in their US rebrand was propped up by someone else's reputation. And when those allies needed something back, loyalty, defense, even just a public word of support, Meghan and Harry vanished. That's not just an oversight. That's a pattern. Perry risked his reputation to stand beside them when few would. He allowed his home, his security, and even his privacy to be part of their story. And now, amid the most damaging allegations of his career, Meghan and Harry have chosen silence. It's not principled, it's not diplomatic, it's strategic. They're waiting to see where the chips fall. If Perry walks away clean, maybe they'll resurface with praise. If not, they were never that close. That's not friendship. That's a transaction. It mirrors exactly what happened with Jessica Mulroney. Use what you need, then step back when the heat gets too high. No mess, no accountability, no loyalty. But the industry is catching on. Because if Tyler Perry, one of the most generous, powerful allies in Hollywood, can be discarded this easily, who's safe? And more importantly, who's next? Now, everything Meghan and Harry built is hanging by a thread, And with each silence, each ghosted friend, and each burned bridge, the world is watching that thread unravel. Everything Meghan and Harry worked for in Hollywood was built on relationships. Strategic alliances, borrowed influence, carefully curated appearances. But now, that entire strategy is collapsing in real time. Tyler Perry wasn't just a friend, he was a cornerstone. His support gave them legitimacy. His compound gave them safety. His presence in their Netflix docuseries gave them narrative power. Losing him isn't just a personal loss. It's the unraveling of their Hollywood foundation. Industry insiders say Perry's exit sent a chilling message. If he's done with them, everyone else should be too. And that's exactly what's happening. Former allies are cutting contact. Executives are distancing their brands. A-listers are declining invitations. Talent agencies are whispering warnings behind closed doors. One insider called it the emperor's new clothes moment. The second Perry walked away, it gave everyone else permission to say what they'd been thinking for months. The Sussexes are more liability than asset. And now, without Perry's backing, their Hollywood dream is exposed for what it really is, an image crafted through borrowed trust and fragile partnerships. What makes this all so devastating isn't just the silence, it's the timing. With every studio growing more risk-averse and every public misstep amplified, Meghan and Harry have run out of room to stumble. Their silence isn't just costing them friends, it's costing them everything they thought they'd built. And as the industry turns its back, there's only one question left to ask.